The Wayback Machine is a website you can go to, and it is an archive of internet websites. And you can look up any old, I see you pulling it up right now. You can pull up any old website from like history. Like that's how people have been finding their old MySpace pages. I have not been successful in finding my old MySpace page. I was using it to go back and look at old Newgrounds, old E-Bombs World, the original Flash Dragon Ball Z website back in the day, like some of the old cheat code websites and stuff. But yeah, that we'll have to play with that whenever we're not recording. It's really cool. If you can remember any of your social media handles or anything, you can actually find the old pages. All right, welcome. We are on episode 13 today, January 27th, 2026. I didn't say 2025. You should be impressed.
Well, you aren't writing anything, so
that's fair.
That's
it's usually writing where it's a problem.
Writing's where it's problem.
That's true. That's true.
I've been signing papers and I've had to change a few of them.
Yeah.
So.
But lucky number 13, also Taylor Swift's favorite number, as well.
We had to go there.
Yeah, we always got to go with Taylor Swift at some capacity. We do.
Wait till Wayne hears.
Yeah, I know. He'll be but yes, episode 13. Thank you as always, hanging around with us. Hope we got a good one for you going today. We're pivoting a little bit away from the game-centric vibes. Actually, you figure we've done like GameStop and gaming and then general nostalgia, and we kind of have this rotation going.
We have a pretty good rotation, to be honest with you. Like it's kind of working. Now, it's obviously the rotation may alter every now and again, but
yeah, so we are trying to maintain that. So today's episode is the lost art of browsing. So that is kind of exactly what it sounds like. We're going into kind of more broad nostalgia in talking about the early days of the internet and
how we're going to talk about your Google TV.
I did not write down the Google TV story, so yes, we can talk about the Google TV.
You know exactly what story I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. We can talk about all those TVs. That was a
cool TV.
It was, actually. And now you buy the Google TV and plug it into any TV, but it was a whoop-ass Google TV brand and all of that. Had the white back. And
I'll never forget your remote, too. It was basically a mouse.
Yes, it was cool. Amazing. So, I loved it.
But we'll get to that here. We'll get to that when we get in our story mode here in just a second.
Yep. So the internet before algorithms, birth of the YouTube and memes, social media, things like that. I think this is another one of those topics where it has come up kind of organically in other episodes, and we have enough to yak about that we're going to make a whole story mode out of it. The side quests today, we actually are going to do Next Gen, which Next Gen kind of lines up with our story mode. Going to be looking forward to looking at things like social media now compared to what is talked about during our story mode, algorithms, AI, and just kind of how the world is moving forward from that perspective. So kind of a serious Next Gen, not a playful Next Gen, if you will. But then we also have a new segment, something we saw on TikTok. It's just called Loadout. So basically we're going to go through and with each other, we're going to give each other some items to pick from different categories to determine what our perfect loadout is. And that will be game-centric. So we always got to bring that back somehow.
Yeah. Chase just trying to find a game that he doesn't mess up.
Hey, you know what's interesting about that, though, is I did not mess up when Tim on the episode 1.5 asked me, like, we did kind of a game to guess his most anticipated. I got that one just fine.
You did good.
No issues.
You did all right.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Well, that's pretty much it for our intro, I think, right?
Yep. So let's go ahead and jump into our story mode, The Lost Art of Browsing. All right. So, whenever we were coming up with this topic, I think it's fair that the past episodes where we've talked about this, it has involved Limewire, it has involved Kazaa, it has involved MySpace.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've talked about some of the more staple, like, websites from back then. Like, for me, we'll get into torrents and downloading and all of that, but did you ever mess around with, like, Newgrounds.com?
So, I was looking at these. I don't remember Newgrounds and I don't remember E-Bombs, but I do remember AddictingGames.com. We used to play it. I used to mess with that a lot.
And were you able to successfully, like, use the filter at school to get to Addicting Games and play the games at the computer lab?
That's when I played it, was at school. Because, to be honest, like, I can't remember when we really, like, we played game systems, but the computer was basically just my parents. Like, we didn't mess with it at home. very often.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Addicting games, like I didn't do a whole lot of. I mean, there was addicting games. There was a lot of different platforms.
You had to find something to do when you got done with your work.
Oh yeah. Well, and the schools all had these firewalls to prevent you. But we all found ways to access
Get around it. Yeah.
Now, for the record, I did not use those tools to get around to anything except for game sites. Like that's what I was doing. And don't give me that look. That's the only thing I was doing on school.
No, you did that at home. We know better.
Well, I didn't have to. Never mind. So Newgrounds and E-Bombs World. All right. So you did.
I don't remember those two.
Well, the thing is,
are they both game websites?
No. So, they did have some games, but Newgrounds had a bunch of Flash animation videos that were hysterical. Like, did you ever see circulating like the Superfly videos? Like, hey, Superfly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was from Newgrounds.
Oh.
Or where it had like a Steve Irwin thing and it was talking about the Gowanna Humpa or anything like that.
I don't remember that
one. Oh,
man.
It was all this really funny Flash animation stuff. I think that's also, I feel like I need to ask Howie to confirm, but I also believe that's where Metal Gear Awesome originated. It was on Newgrounds, which it's Metal Gear, so of course I was obsessed with it. But E-Bombs World, it was kind of more of the same too, where it had a lot of funny memes that weren't called memes at the time, but Flash video and different content.
Yeah, they were definitely memes before memes became a
yeah.
thing.
But they were, I mean, and really I would say those were kind of the things like before YouTube hit. Like that was the kind of funny websites that, you would go back and find. And have you ever heard of, and see, I went down the rabbit hole of looking at these websites. I think I brought it up on a previous episode. Have you ever messed with the Wayback Machine?
Mm-mm.
So, and for our listeners, if you don't know about this, I just learned about this. The Wayback Machine is a website you can go to online, and it is an archive of internet websites. And you can look up any old, I see you pulling it up right now. You can pull up any old website from like history. Like that's how people have been finding their old MySpace pages. I have not been successful in finding my old MySpace page, but like I was using it to go back and look at old Newgrounds, old E-Bombs World, the original Flash Dragon Ball Z website back in the day. There were like some of the old cheat code websites and stuff, but yeah, that we'll have to play with that whenever we're not recording. It's really cool. If you can remember any of your social media handles or anything, you can actually find the old pages.
See, that's what's funny because I think I have all of my. Because like I told you, I said it in a previous episode, I never had a MySpace technically. So
which makes me very sad.
Well,
like
Facebook came around when I was in
I guess that
school.
was.
I guess I think I was.
Yeah, because
when did MySpace actually end? Do you have the date?
No, MySpace came out in 2003.
Yeah, so I was,
and I think it was around.
So I was only. I think MySpace got kind of popular while I was in middle school, but like by the time I was in high school, like Facebook was the thing. So and everybody was going to Facebook.
Okay, that checks out. Well, you really missed out on that, and we're gonna come back to MySpace specifically. But the other thing I want to mention about Addicting Games, though, Addicting Games is where did you ever play? They had it on 360. The little N+ game with the little black ninja that collected the gold blocks and hopped around. The first time I ever played that was on Addicting Games. I wore that out when they released that as an actual game on the Xbox. I was fired up, man. Like I was a sucker for those kind of Xbox arcade games.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna be honest. I know this is about internet, but original Xbox arcade games were fantastic.
Oh, dude,
they were awesome.
Fusion Frenzy. There was several of them.
The N Plus was one.
I loved N+.
There was one that you were a spaceship flying around.
Yeah, they had the niche on it. But like Newgrounds, E-Bombs, all of that was kind of a thing. Again, I would say before YouTube. I didn't double check the dates or anything like that.
Of what, E-Bombs World?
Yeah, to see when they came out, and I think, frankly, I think they still exist now. Like I'm talking about them like they don't exist anymore, but it's just not as accessible, I guess, or regularly
2001 was when E-Bombs World was created.
Yeah, so this is all around that era. But, then...
Addicting Games is the one that I know for a fact I played a lot. Like, I remember getting on that website. Like, I remember even getting there. But I played, like, back then when I was in elementary school, I used to play Neopets.
Oh,
in elementary school. And I was, like, big. Like, I played a lot of Neopets.
That's okay. That's fair.
Like, that was one of the games that I remember playing. But, like I said, I was in elementary school. Because, it wasn't... like we talk about all the time, it wasn't cool to play those games whenever you hit like middle school.
Right.
But like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, because, it was part of that being ridiculed and, all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember back then, like, because Neopets had games and you would play the games to get your points and your coins and stuff, then you would buy new Neopets and stuff like that.
It was kind of like the early gacha games.
Kind of. But it was like, it was a gacha game that you didn't spend money on.
Right.
Like,
well, yeah. Now everybody's
money hungry. And
yes.
It's pay to win, such and such.
Well, and the thing is, like, for us, my access to the internet started with AOL, America Online. I don't know if you had AOL or not.
We had AOL, yeah, we did. But like I said, because I remember AIM.
Yes, AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, so Wayne,
I got no trouble at all with AOL Instant Messenger.
So I was a kid, like young, whenever AIM came out. So I wasn't allowed to use it, but they let my brother use it to talk to.
I feel like Wayne's probably got some really good stories,
stuff like that. Like, yeah, I remember him using it. So
AOL was when I got my first introduction to the internet, and I think it's really funny. I don't know how many conversations you've had with Gen Zers. But like my niece, and other Gen Zers find it difficult to believe that I am older than Google. Frankly, I think you are older than Google too.
When did Google come out?
You can Google it to confirm, but I am definitely older than Google. And I'm fairly certain you are older than Google because I think it's 2000. Did you find when it came out?
No, I was looking something else up.
Oh, yeah. But but AOL was kind of where everything started.
When Google started.
When Google started. But... because then, of course, Google now owns YouTube. They didn't own YouTube before.
98, actually.
98.
So, yeah, I'm older than Google.
No, see, we're both older than Google. But outside of Google, because, yes, Google owns YouTube now, but when YouTube became a thing, I remember that basically, like, when YouTube came out, like, it wasn't about Newgrounds or eBaum's World or anything like that. Like, everything moved to YouTube. At that point.
That's what I was looking at. So I remember, like, I know you get some notes. What is the first one that you remember watching?
First YouTube video? Yeah. What's messed up is the first YouTube video that I can really remember watching, even though I know it wasn't the first one, it's probably, I know it's not the first one I ever watched, but, like, did you ever watch Old Greg?
I've seen it, yeah.
About putting Baileys in a shoe?
Yeah.
But I know it's not the first one I ever saw, but that's the memorable one. There was also a group of videos called Power Thirst that were really funny back then. I did watch them recently, and it wasn't as funny. It was still pretty funny. But I feel that you must remember your first one for you to ask the question.
Do you remember the dude that used to do Numa Numa?
Yes. Okay. That I do remember seeing that. So that may have been.
I remember that very clearly because I remember Wayne showed it to me. I remember that, and then I remember.
Did you watch Chocolate Rain?
Yeah.
That's another one.
Chocolate Rain.
Howie introduced me to that
one. You remember, who did I know most of my life?
That's fair.
So,
yeah.
But Numa Numa was one of them. I remember that.
I forgot about Numa Numa.
And he was doing the dance and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the I'm a snake. Right?
I'm a silly little
that
snake.
looks just like Tyler. Like, just like Tyler.
Who we're referring to is Scott's cousin.
Yeah, Howie's cousin's name is Tyler, and the I'm a snake guy looks just like him.
But you also have College Humor on here. College Humor was fantastic,
dude. College Humor. What's messed up is for some reason when I put them down, I meant to go back and look at some of the really really old videos of College Humor to refresh my memory. But in recent memory, the ones they did of Christian Bale's Batman, like I love those. But they did so many old videos that were just insane.
I haven't looked at this in a long time. But now I guess they're called Dropout. They're not.
Oh, really? They rebranded.
Yeah. So I looked up College Humor and it pulls up Dropout.
Now that's interesting. I didn't realize.
Do you remember when we were talking about D&D, like 2 episodes ago?
We were
talking about Brendan, the guy that worked for Critical Role. Apparently, he was here because this episode is called Tide CEO. You got to stop eating Tide Pods.
Okay, I've seen him on College Humor videos before.
Yeah, so apparently they changed their name to
Gen Zers. Don't be eating any Tide Pods.
Tide Pods are not good for you.
Yep, I think we're past that.
But no, I specifically remember the Batman ones. The Batman ones,
dude.
The Talia al Ghul one, and she's like, I will do this. And she stabs him. He's like, ugh.
I love those. No, and I'll tell you another one. I didn't make a note about it, but as you pull up YouTube and are scrolling, do you remember? Again, I have Howie to thank for this, but epic rap battles of history.
Oh, fantastic,
dude!
Yes,
and they're still going.
Battles. Yeah, they still have them. There was one.
They just did one recently, but
they're not as. so they used to come out.
Oh yeah, they were
very,
regular.
very.
Now it's very much a treat whenever they release it.
Yeah. That's not the way it used to be. That's for sure.
And this is all also back before YouTube had ads. Like there was a time where YouTube did not have ads. Like, now you got to pay for it.
Their videos are, I guess, they're doing them in seasons now. But like this one came out 11 months ago. There was a couple that came out a year ago. But outside of those, like 3, they were like 2 years apart.
They were so good, and I was a big fan of when the
original Epic Rap Battles were fantastic.
Oh yeah, well, and I remember too where they did a lot of collaborations with, and we're jumping eras a little bit, but when Vine was a big thing, and they did all those collaborators with a lot of the big Viners.
Dude, Vine was fantastic. For people who, I mean, everyone that listens to this is going to know what Vine is. But Vine it was what, a 6-second clip is all it could be. It could never be more than 6.
It's the OG TikTok, basically.
Well, and it's what TikTok became, but now you can do 3-4 minute videos on TikTok.
Right. Yeah.
Like, but Vine, I used to love Vine. I was on Vine all the time.
Well, and I feel with Vine, it was just like TikTok for me. Everyone was on TikTok. I wanted nothing to do with it. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not going to download this. And then I ended up downloading it, and now I love it. I remember Vine. Howie was telling me all about Vine, and I was like, that sounds dumb. That's stupid. I don't like that. That's dumb. I downloaded Vine, and when the app got deactivated, I think I had something like 500,000 like videos that I had liked, because you could see all the videos you had liked. I spent way too much time scrolling.
I spent a lot of time on Vine. I liked Vine. I remember there was a guy, surprise.
Oh yeah, and you know some fries. Yeah, and he just kept quoting from Dexter.
Yeah.
Good. And that's what Alpha Cat, I think his name was. He was the guy who did the really good Obama impression, and that's who they had on Epic Rap Battles. Do Obama, was because he did such a great Obama impression.
So and that's the thing. Like a lot of them, like when Vine. I remember when Vine like left. They were doing like a lot of the Vine creators were like trying to keep up with content.
Yes.
And it was before TikTok. Like, you know, there was a little bit of a gap.
Well, I actually saw a video the other day with an interview with, so you remember the biggest Viners, King Batch, Brittany Ferland, like all of them. They actually went to Vine to try and like save the app, and it didn't go as planned, kind of thing, because Twitter bought them or something. So they left Vine and the app died because of all those big creators.
Well, I was going to say,
which would make sense.
I don't remember if he's the one that did it. One of my other ones that I did. Do you ever watch Wild 'N Out?
I know. Oh, that's the Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Emmanuel Hudson.
Is that
asking all them questions?
Asking all these questions.
Making statements.
Assuming. Yes.
That was a fantastic video.
About that video.
I wonder when that video came out.
That video was insane, and then for some reason, another one that comes to mind that I saw in that same era, it was a guy talking about chicken.
It came out 12 years ago.
12 years ago? It's 2026.
You're talking about the Chick-fil-A one.
Yeah, the Chick-fil-A.
And he's like
chicken. Yeah, like he's a very aggressive.
I know.
So wait a minute, 12 years ago.
That's what it says. It says asking all them questions. Well, this was posted 13 years ago. Sorry. Spoken Reasons. That's them. Spoken Reasons, and it came out 13 years ago. Well, it was funny because
2023, so 2013. Really?
Think about this. What I was getting at with this. So now this is obviously YouTube's been around longer than that. But this is just one of the videos that I.
Oh yeah. I thought it was older than that, to be honest.
This says 13 years is what it's saying, and it's from the Spoken Reasons thing, which is who they are.
Yeah.
Now it could have came out before, and they had to relaunch it on a new YouTube or something like that. So these two had a big falling out, and
I didn't know that.
Well, they brought him on to Wild 'N Out, and then like after.
Really?
And him and Emmanuel Hudson
they go back and forth?
Yeah, on a rap battle.
Oh, I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
so it was just a fun little tidbit.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. No.
So, but this was a fantastic old YouTube video. I love asking all the questions, making statements.
Well, and that was the thing. And look, I know you didn't do much with MySpace, but I do want to talk about social media, because social media was such a huge thing.
And the evolution of social media is crazy, too.
Oh, dude. Like, so MySpace came out in 2003. So in 2003, I would have just been starting high school.
Yeah, I remember like the top 8. Like I remember people talking all the time about top 8. And if you move somebody out of your top 8,
here's the thing with MySpace is that you had top 8, and that was a whole big dramatic thing. But you could, so YouTube of course is becoming a thing, so people were like embedding videos. But here's the thing: people who were on MySpace like we were like coders. Like we were learning HTML and JavaScript and C++ and all this to make these badass social media profiles with the wallpaper. And of course,
I learned mine a different way.
Well, that's also fair. But like,
which we'll get to because you actually have it on here.
Well, I'm curious where that's at, but
we had to do all that with Gaia.
Oh, that's right. We'll get to that in a second because I didn't do Gaia. But with MySpace, like literally, I make jokes in my job now that sometimes I have to dabble in HTML. Not much, but sometimes I do. And literally some of that MySpace knowledge comes back out. And I actually use this, like I actually created several Dragon Ball fan websites myself. Like I had several of them. I used these different hosting sites, Max Pages, GeoCities, Angel Fire, where you could build a website. And I did like fan fiction where people could write fan fiction and send it in. We did RPGs, like text RPGs with the chat rooms through AIM and stuff. And it was meeting these people through MySpace. But the where MySpace became a huge thing was with music. Like the local music scene in Louisville. And I've talked a little bit about it. And actually, just for the record, and I hope he doesn't mind me doing this plug, you may have noticed in our last couple episodes, we mentioned it was coming, but our intro music and our closing music has changed. There's a reason behind that, but without getting into the specifics as to why it changed, that music is actually music from my oldest friend, Quentin. My buddy Quentin and I have known each other for, let's see, how old am I? 36. So we've known each other for 32 years. Is that right? Yeah. So I was really active in local music, not playing music, but I was like selling merch and doing different things. Well, that's from Quentin's band. So he said,
isn't one of them you actually playing the drums?
Yes, yeah. So I've got some recordings with me playing, yeah, but the majority of it.
Well, I didn't know which one you used.
No, I didn't use any of those. Yeah,
you didn't tell me. You showed them to me, but I didn't. No, I don't know which ones.
No, the best ones are him playing. So, ironically enough, he wrote some of those songs, but MySpace became the way to promote. So with local music being such a big deal, that's how we were able to connect with different bands and stuff like that and set up shows and concerts. Like it was this whole like culture around MySpace that maintained through high school, because I didn't get on Facebook till 2008 or 2007, right when I graduated. So MySpace was what we had through my entire high school career.
That's what people use Facebook for now.
Yes,
like to promote.
Like we pivoted, and that's the thing. We pivoted to Facebook, and then MySpace kind of went away. But now I know, and I roped it into the social media category, but I know that you all did a lot with that, with Gaia. You said you had done that a lot.
Yeah, so Gaia. So I remember we only played it at Scott's house because we used Scott's computer. And he had a laptop that he had for a long time. And there was, so Scott had a room. It was their computer room, but we were allowed to use the computer. And we had a TV in there, so we'd hook up. We'd have a system in there. We'd have one on the computer, one on the system, another one on the laptop. So you play Gaia together.
So was Gaia like a MapleStory or a RuneScape or something?
No, it's basically like the profiles were kind of like
MySpace profiles?
MySpace.
Okay.
Where you would create it, have a background, you would have, which our next thing, one of the other things you have on here, AMVs, like we would have an AMV on there. That's what we're talking about. Because remember, originally I had Arlong, and I switched to Gara.
Yeah, that Gara video with that was the Pop Roach
so
thing,
we had all that on there, and then but there was also like rooms. It was like chat rooms kind of, but it was like but it was like you had like a very like Roblox-esque character that would go in, so you could speak in the chat.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which it developed, because there was a time, and I know Scott sent us a picture of it, that he still has his guy online that's been forever.
Yeah, because that's what's funny. I thought he pulled it up on Wayback Machine. He's like, no, it still exists. Like I had no idea it was still even a thing.
So he pulled it up and was looking at it now. It's completely transferred now. I remember that this was in I was probably in middle school that we did this.
Yeah.
I got back on it years later. I was probably I had just graduated. I was at Scott's house when we pulled it up.
Okay, right? Yeah.
And we got back on there. It was completely different. You could have a whole personal chat room that you private chat room that you could design and make it your bedroom, and it was crazy.
See,
it was wild.
See, I never ever did. So I never did the Gaia thing. I did the MySpace and then the chat rooms and and all that on AOL. I do know at one point Howie had introduced me to IMVU.
Well, IMVU came after Gaia.
Yeah.
Gaia was original. But IMVU was basically Gaia.
But 3D.
But 3D.
I got you. Okay. So I did mess with IMVU a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't do much with it, but I was introduced to that by Howie. So it was basically a virtual chat room-esque type thing.
Exactly what it is.
Now, I think we can agree what all that's used for these days, it seems. But back then, it seemed to be really... I mean, I feel like Howie met a lot of people he games with to this day through IMVU. I could be wrong. Hopefully, I'm not putting words in his mouth.
I wonder if he met... Is that where he met...
I was wondering, that whole group.
Well, I think the only one he still plays with is Sonya, but I don't know if he plays with the rest of them.
Yeah.
Which, this is something, Howie, you can answer.
Yeah. He's going to be, he's going to be on a couple episodes.
I can't remember how he... No, he may have met them playing Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
He may have met her playing Final Fantasy 14. Now, they still play everything together now, because they were just playing the other day when I was in there talking to them.
Yeah.
So...
Well, and
but that also just shows how much you can literally make friends online.
Oh, yeah.
And just have friends that you play games with all the time.
Well, and that's the thing. I have not ever... So we talked, I play more single player than multiplayer, but I did play my fair share of multiplayer. But where, like, Howie has friends all over the world that he's played online games with. I think you've got some as well.
I had a couple. I used to play with a bunch of people from North Carolina.
I never really had that. And a lot of the reason is because playing online with people in general... We've had this conversation in the past. I struggle really hard whenever we play online together. If it's just people I know, I do okay. But you put me in a Discord, it's got 25 people in it, and I don't know half of them.
You don't feel like talking.
I don't feel like talking. It makes me uncomfortable. But the one time I can remember meeting someone online, not meeting in person, but when I was making those Dragon Ball websites, I met somebody through chat rooms on AOL and all that, and we worked together at 13 and 14 years old. We were webmasters managing these websites. He lived in Ohio somewhere. I remember the dude's name was Dave. That's it. Don't know anything. I did try and look up his email address to see if I could find this dude, because this was when I was 30. We're talking, over 20 years ago. But that's it. I never really met people.
So I still have a couple guys that I play with. There's one that I know lives in Virginia. He's a cool dude. I've known him for about a year and a half. We met. Him still, and then I don't talk to Michael anymore. I ain't talked to Michael in a long time, but he was in it's funny though, because when you meet somebody online and you play with them online,
right,
you don't really use their names.
You just use their
whatever their gamer tag
or a short version.
The person in
so people call you Birdman, probably
Birdie usually.
Yeah, there you go.
So but then that's not what it was.
Oh yeah.
Which was funny because I called all them by their handles.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where we did start using their names, a little bit. There was one guy that I, for some reason, for the longest time, could not do it with. He just went by Omega. That's what he was.
That was it.
He was Omega. So, but then there was one that he lived in Minnesota. We were literally the same age. That we ended up playing games forever on, Call of Duties and everything.
Yeah, see, I've got friends on my Xbox and PlayStation of people I've played with, but it's mainly just because I hit accept, but I haven't really game with people online. Not like that, at least.
So,
but yeah,
but speaking of guy and the AMVs, that's another going back to YouTube. That's where we watched them all. All your AMVs were on YouTube. So we talked about that episode with Scott and Wayne
with the Gara Papa
way
Roach
back
one.
When. The Garo Papa Roach one, there was an hour-long video. I don't remember the song on it, but there was an hour-long video that I had on there for a long time that was it was dope. And it was just an hour-long fight scene is all it was.
And that's the thing, even before YouTube, so yes, 100%, that was probably, we talked about my first YouTube video, it was probably one of these AMVs, because before YouTube, the way you would get these AMVs was through Limewire or through Kazaa.
So I never had that. So Wayne, I know Wayne downloaded some stuff on it, but I don't.
Yeah, it was so Kazaa. So Limewire and Kazaa both are basically kind of the same thing, where you could download. Yes, it was illegally downloading. It was pirating different things. So Limewire was 2000, 2010. Kazaa was 01 to 12. Now Napster's probably the biggest illegal platform that everyone knows of. Napster was only around for a couple years, 99 to 01, and that was illegally downloaded music. But LimeWire and Kazaa, people would use those to download music. They would use them to download movies. They would use them to download other material as well. But the AMVs were out there. Like, I remember that's where downloading through Limewire.
I'm assuming most of yours were Dragon Ball back then.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the download speeds back then were awful. So you would literally wait all day to download an AMV.
For a 4-minute video.
For a 4-minute video. Like, I remember there was a Vegeta in the End one that I loved. I was obsessed with. There was one that was of the Z Broly movie, and it was Bon Jovi's It's My Life. That was awesome. But they were accessible. Now, they now exist on YouTube. Like, I can go to YouTube, look up In the End, Dragon Ball AMV, and I will find that exact Vegeta.
Well, see, I've tried it before. I've told you this. The Gara one is just gone. Like, the specific one.
The very specific one.
There's a specific one because I remember exactly how it started. I remember what part it was at each part of the song.
Yes.
That specific one, I cannot find anymore.
Yeah, I've been able to find the In the End Vegeta one, and I've been able to find the Z Broly It's My Life. Those are the two that I remember the best. But before YouTube, I had to get them through LimeWire. And I did my fair share of movies and so, as well. By the way, this is reminiscing. This is not condoning pirating or anything like that. But they were literally around for I didn't even realize they were around that long. I think they got shut down well before, but both of those were around all the way up until 2010 or 2012. And then literally the other way, at least LimeWire was used for, was like when we think anime back then, we kind of talked about this already, and we are going to have an anime-centric episode coming up, but we had to wait.
Don't worry, Rob, we will probably have Howie on.
Oh, I'm sure. We had to wait so long for dubbed episodes. Now, I know there's sub and dub purists, and look, don't come for us on this. I prefer dub. I think you also prefer dub.
No, I don't really care.
Okay, you don't have a preference, but
no,
you're not a purist, is what I'm saying.
No, but I'll watch whatever. Like, for instance, like Naruto for sure. Like when I originally watched through Naruto the first time,
yeah,
I watched a big portion of Shippuden dubbed, and then I got to a point where they didn't have any dubbed,
right?
And I had to watch it all subbed because it was finished in sub, but it wasn't finished in dub,
right?
So I watched it all in sub to finish it, and then I watched it again all in dub.
Well, and that's how with Dragon Ball, like we already had the discussion when we talked about, I think it was Be Kind Rewind, when I talked about all the VHS tapes that I had of Dragon Ball, but so I was able to stay ahead of Toonami because the VHSs were already dubbed.
Yeah,
but GT and some of the movies I actually downloaded through LimeWire or Kazaa, but the problem is they weren't subbed. They were in Japanese, but they weren't subbed. So I literally remember watching
not having any idea what this.
Not having any idea. When I watched GT the first time, I watched all of GT in Japanese, had no idea what they were saying at all. Now, of course, I've watched GT in dub since then, obviously.
Yeah, but I think I didn't know that was a thing because, like I said back then, most of what I watched with that was always at Scott's house or on Toonami or something at home.
Right.
So, like, it was already always out. I never really did the downloading in that way.
Oh, yeah. By that
nowadays, time like, Hell's Paradise just started again. I'm watching it subbed. I'm not waiting for it to dub. Like,
well, and that's the thing. Back then, episodes would air, and you just said it with Shippuden. Dragon Ball was the same way. The sub would be so far ahead.
Right.
You'd be waiting 6-8 months for the dub to catch up.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we have some things that are simuldubbed that literally hit the same time.
I think Solo Leveling is technically a simuldub.
I think so.
Right. But I always watch it in sub. So Solo Leveling.
I know that's your new jam.
As everyone not everyone knows, but a lot of people. I love that show. I've watched.
I know you said it's
I
in
watched
your
the
top
day
now.
Of. It's one of my top shows now. Like, I love it. Day it releases, I usually make sure I watch it at 10 a.m. whenever it first shows. Like, it is my show.
Yeah,
I just finished it in dubbed.
Yeah,
but I originally watched it in subbed.
Right.
And then they started doing the simuldubbed, but I still wanted to rewatch. I still wanted to keep doing it in sub because that's what I've been watching it in. But when I was like, all right, you know what, I'm going to rewatch it again. I rewatched it in dubbed because I do the dub stuff a lot whenever I can't sit down and just stare at it, like,
right?
Watch it because I obviously have to read it.
You
got to
read
like
it.
That.
Yeah. You can read.
You have the degree and can't read.
I can read. It's the numbers I have a problem with.
That's halfway true. Back to what I was saying. So. But the second time I watch it, I can, so that I just know, like, I can hear, like, sound cues, and it's like, hey, look, this is where something cool is getting ready to happen. So then I can stop what I'm doing, watch for a minute, and then go back to what I'm doing. Well, so that's why I do it that way.
And I will
Same
say,
thing I did with Naruto when I rewatched it.
Well, and I will say with like new anime, like for me, I'm a dub person without a doubt. But Dragon Ball Super, I watched in sub because they weren't fully up to date.
Super, I watched in sub.
Super, I watched in sub, and then Attack on Titan, I watched in sub. Now I immediately
did
watched
they simuldub Daima?
Yeah, they were like 3 weeks behind.
So we're getting off the internet track and going on an anime track. So
yeah,
let's get back to the internet track.
No, the other thing that I just had to bring up as it relates to browsing and the way things were different. You know, we've talked about social media. We've talked about some of the old websites, looking up videos, fun things, memes, meme videos, you know, anime to a degree. We also talked to some Vine. But the aspect of gaming and how it was so different then than now. Now, first off, I have no shame in acknowledging I don't play hard games. We've already acknowledged that. I've always been that way. So this may be a foreign concept to you, but back in the day,
I know all these websites.
Okay, good deal. So back in the day,
I have the one that you're getting ready to talk about, the very first one you have listed.
Dude, I lived on CheatCC, Cheat Code Central. And you know what's funny about CheatCC.com? The website was CheatCC.com. But if you went to Cheat Code Central and spelled it out, you'd wind up getting porn or something like that. Like someone bought that URL to jack up the kids looking up CheatCC. Like I remember, I never went there on purpose. It was on accident. But CheatCC, don't give me that look. CheatCC.com.
It was on accident the first time.
Right.
And the second, third time it wasn't on accident.
But they, that was the beginning of viruses. But no, CheatCC.
Chase went through a lot of computers.
I did.
Which is the Google. This might be a good time for your Google story.
So, all right. So,
because it involves browsing.
Yeah. So we'll come back to CheatCC. So this Google, first off, I got in a really bad habit of just buying TVs all the time, like buying TVs, selling them, buying TVs. And the reason why we would have shindigs, which we still need to have a whole episode about the shindigs, but I got to consult with some people about what we can talk about.
That's one we need to have some of the people from the shindigs.
I know we got to get Grant and some, but I got to get some approvals on shindigs. But anyway, I would buy and sell TVs all the time because we would do like Gears of War tournaments or Call of Duty or Mortal Kombat tournaments with multiple consoles or whatever. But I had this Google TV, and smart TVs were not a thing at the time. So this was a very unique TV in the sense that it had, apps on it, which at the time, I think the only app that really mattered was Netflix, but it had the internet, had a web browser, and it was like a 40-inch TV. So, unfortunately, that is a TV that, and I think this is the part of the story that you're referring to, that is a TV that I was not able to sell. And the reason I was not able to sell it is for some unknown reason, it stopped working.
Because there was viruses.
That is not confirmed.
Oh, it is 100% confirmed.
No, but I was a very financially irresponsible person at that age, and it was like $1,000 TV, and I had it for all of about 3 weeks. And I had a shindig, and
I remember whenever, I think it was Maurice. Maurice logged onto it and started looking at it. Please, do they listen to this?
I don't know if they do or not.
Well, they need to hear this because I remember when I was like, God dang, Chase, what are you looking at?
Yeah. So this was also, before the time of knowing how to clear your browser history.
And also before you had stuff like Apple that immediately blocks your viruses.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yes, I did ruin a TV or
In all seriousness, though, that TV was one of the dopest TVs. It was the first TV that I remember ever seeing that was legitimately a computer.
Yes,
it was 100%. It was a TV, but you literally had a browser. His controller, literally had the rollerball for the mouse.
Yep,
everything.
It was literally
it had a keyboard and stuff.
Yeah, the Android ecosystem was a legit TV.
It was a really cool.
And
TV.
I ruined it. But anyway, back to CheatCC. So we all remember games back then too. A lot of games back then had cheat codes, like legitimate cheat codes.
That's what I was going to get at. And you would pull it up and see, we used to use them for GTA.
Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Wait, no, we didn't, because I wasn't allowed to play GTA.
Right.
But when
me neither.
GTA, I had friends that played GTA.
Yeah, and it had the pieces of paper folded in the case.
When you opened the case, the cheat codes were in there. I remember taking trades in at GameStop when we still took PS2 games
with cheat codes,
and the code's still in there. People would leave the code.
I lived on CheatCC for a lot of those different codes. I remember Command and Conquer, Red Alert. I used to play a bunch. And on PC, I played at my aunt's. I never used the cheat codes on PC, but on PlayStation, I did. And you had to go over to the right side of the screen and hit the little buttons. It was like circle X, triangle, square, triangle. I think gave you like infinite money or something like that. And of course, when you think of cheat codes, everybody thinks of the Konami code: up, down, left, right, BA. Oh, up, down, left, right, BA. Which, by the way, any parents listening, if you have the Fisher Price toy, it does have a little Mario sound if you do the Konami code. But anyway, CheatCC, Game Revolution was another big one that I used.
Game Revolution, Game Facts, both. They were what you would did instead of buying a guide. You could get on them and look for a walk.
Dude, the respect that I have for the people that made those Game Facts.
They still have them?
Oh, I know. And they're all done like in Notepad. And it is so insanely impressive how they did those back then. I don't even understand how they did them.
Well, I remember using them for the skulls on Halo 3.
Oh, yes.
To find all the skulls. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm a very visual person for the most part. So, like, I need to see it. Like, sometimes. Like, a lot of times. That's just how I've always been. Like, I mean, everyone knows you have different kind of learners. You have people that learn visually.
By doing, by seeing, by reading.
Yeah. I am a very visual doing. Like, that's how I do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
When YouTube became the walkthrough
because that's what it is now. Yeah,
it changed things because I can start a video and be like, okay, it looks like it's around this area, and that registers with me. Like, hey, look, I know where that's at. So
because back then it was just text.
Like, because I'm not gonna lie, there's the only part of Yote that I used. I think I was missing. You're gonna look at me like I'm crazy for this. There was 2 of the pillars that I just couldn't get them to figure it out.
You got a platinum on that, didn't you?
Yeah. And then there was only like, I think by the time I was done, there was only 3 shrines that I was missing.
So you looked up the shrines?
So I looked up to find the shrines. Now, the problem with that is when I looked up the shrines, it was on IGN and there was a map. And the map shows where all they were. The problem with it is the way that Yote's map works. Right. You can't really tell if it's the exact one, so it took me a minute.
Yeah, well, see, and that's the thing. So back then, you had the cheat codes, of course, and we could go on a whole thing about that with Game Sharks and stuff. But these websites specifically,
Game Sharks were crazy.
Oh, dude! But those, and sometimes you had to find stuff through Game Shark on there too. But Game Revolution CheatCC is what I use really for cheat codes. But Game Facts is really where I did walkthroughs, which I played a bunch of JRPGs growing up. And again, I don't like hard games. Back then, I didn't like hard games. Now, I don't like hard games. Well, if I get stuck somewhere, I'm going to give it about 5 minutes. And if I can't figure out whatever that is, I'm looking it up. And now I totally do YouTube also. There are certain games.
You do what?
Yeah, I do YouTube also. Like, I pull up a video.
Well, there are games, like, for actual storyline purposes and puzzles, I'm very big on, like, trying to figure out myself without looking it up.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, the little side stuff, if I'll give it 15 minutes of me trying to figure it out. If I can't figure it out for some reason, I'll just look it up.
Yeah.
Which the pillars were, me and you talked about this whenever I was playing. The pillars, like the little riddles sometimes, it just didn't make sense.
Well, and sometimes back then with the JRPGs, it was really easy if you weren't paying attention to the dialogue very well, you were distracted.
You missed just the smallest
if you were a kid and just didn't know what they were saying. So
or you play games like Wayne, for instance. I know he does this because I've watched him do it. A lot of like the cutscenes and stuff,
he'll skip them
immediately.
I did not know that
not
Wayne was okay.
But it's like
I was going to say, Wayne, we're going to have beef. You skipping cutscenes?
No, that one, the MMORPG. I was watching him and our buddy play it. The Where the Winds Meet that just came out.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair. I tried that. I didn't like it.
He was just skipping all the cutscenes. He's like, I don't care about the story.
Yeah, well, no, I won't disagree in that scenario. But from a story game,
no, I think if I remember right, most of his actual single player games.
That's fair. So. But yeah, so gaming then and now from a cheat walkthrough guide perspective. First off, I want hats off to anyone who has ever made a Word doc notepad walkthrough. Like, so much respect to you. It's absolutely insane. Even if they still, some of them still do it, but I still go to YouTube these days. But
well, IGN now has their YouTube factored into it, so they do both.
Yes,
they do.
Which I can appreciate.
Yeah, they do. Here's the notes to it, but here's a video of how to do it.
I'm working my way kind of sort of through the Tomb Raider Survivor trilogy, and I got stuck a couple puzzles, and that IGN was what I was using for that.
Yeah.
So because it's been a while since I've done it. But yeah, so that kind of goes through our areas around. Yeah, the lost art of browsing. We covered a lot of different things in that, not just textbook internet things. Went through YouTube,
even got a little bit
media,
of our tangents that we always get on.
Got into a few tangents, some gaming, of course. But let's go ahead and jump into our side quests, which our first one is going to be a new one, which is Loadout. So this one, like I said, is something new. Basically, it's just a fun little, it's not even a game. It's not a game, it's just a fun little thing. We are going to go through, I'm going to give Austin some options, and he's going to give me some options. We're going to have the same options, like we're not changing those up, and we're going to pick a snack. We're going to pick a console. We're going to pick a movie, a meal, and a drink. So we're going to have options within each of those categories. We're going to make our pick, and that's going to kind of define our loadout. And yes, this is a play on words with gaming, how you can have specific kind of loadouts and, things like that. Whenever you go in to get some goop, you have your loadout. So we're going to pick our loadout for what's kind of like the dream loadout, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Since I did not brief you on this before I decided to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually I look at all the, I'll look at all of our story mode.
Yeah, we map out everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of spontaneous. So okay.
All right. So why don't we just do this? Like, since we're using the same options, you
just
read
go
the
back
first
and
one,
forth.
and I'll read the second one.
Fair enough. All right. So for a snack, all right, our options for a snack are Doritos, Oreos, gummy bears, Cheez-Its, or fruit roll-ups. Which one are you going with?
Out of those 5 options,
and you can pick one.
Because we talk about it all the time, I would pick Doritos normally, but I don't like stuff on my hands.
Right.
Cheez-Its are a good alternative that don't really have that.
They don't really get on your hands real bad.
Well, Doritos, like, you eat 2 or 3 of them in a row, like, you can still feel a little bit of a film. Cheez-Its, I can get 1 or 2 before, which actually, my go-to isn't on here. But
what's your go-to?
Nerds Gummy Clusters.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
That's, if you, I just finished it. Or no, it's over there.
Oh, yeah.
I have a bag that's almost.
Those are really good.
Those are my go-to nowadays. But back then, I'd probably pick Cheez-Its. Or no, actually, I probably would still pick Doritos, to be honest with you, actually. Yeah,
Fair
Doritos.
enough. Fair enough.
I would have just been really mad about having to
wipe your hands off and everything. So I think mine's probably pretty obvious for a snack.
To us.
To you all, it's very obvious. I'm definitely going gummy bears.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, I put the option of gummy bear, but it doesn't have to be a gummy bear. Like, it can be
just gummy.
It can be a gummy worm. It can be a gummy lifesaver. It can be a gummy
sour, or do you do regular?
I don't like the sour, just the regular gummies.
Yeah. So, all right. So now we're gonna pick a console. And the consoles are PS2, Xbox 360, N64. You went new gen with PS5 and GameCube.
So, yeah, I wanted to just kind of mix it up. We're just talking about a general. We're not saying it has to be nostalgic or anything like that. Just in general.
Oh, if we're doing like nowadays lineup, then Cheez-Its would be my choice out of those.
Yeah, we're just talking about we're getting together for a night and we're getting our loadout ready for what we're doing.
Oh, mine would be Cheez-Its.
Yeah, console-wise, for me, straight up, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my PS5, but I'm a sucker for nostalgia. So give me a PS2, give me some gummy bears.
I don't know if we're doing it to where we're doing.
I know what you're picking.
Gonna be GameCube.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go 360. Be honest.
No, it's gonna be a GameCube. I think.
We doing Super Smash?
You have Smash. You have Double Dash. You have Mario Party. You have if we're talking about in a group setting.
Yeah.
I'm 100% picking a game.
Well, that's okay. You all play that. I'm gonna sit over here and play my Kingdom Hearts or my Final Fantasy X or whatever.
You don't want to play by yourself because you don't have friends anyway, so that's fine.
Evidence is in this podcast.
Yeah. Whatever.
So all right. So our next one is
is loaded for you.
It is not necessarily. Pick a movie. All right. So we've got Die Hard. We have Toy Story. We have Avengers Endgame. We have Interstellar, and we have Anchorman.
As much as Toy Story would be,
I tried to make it difficult for you and me both.
If it's just something playing in the background, like we're not watching the movie.
Yeah, it's like background noise. Yeah.
I think Anchorman, honestly. You are not a fan, and we've had this conversation.
Yeah, I wasn't able to do a TikTok about this the other day, so I'm just going to mention it on the podcast, and then we're going to see how much Wayne hates me for it. So I am not a Will Ferrell fan. I'm not. I don't.
Which is crazy.
I don't hate Will Ferrell. I just am not a fan of Will Ferrell movies. That includes Anchorman. Wayne was very upset about this.
So was Scott.
Well, yeah, Howie was too. Actually, all y'all were upset.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I just think Will Ferrell deserves his flowers.
Well, and that's fine. But we all did agree Sandler was the GOAT, though. So,
yeah. But pick your movie.
Obviously, I'm not picking Anchorman.
No, I figure if I had to guess, you're probably going to pick Die Hard.
Well,
Interstellar. You're so used to.
This was, and like I said, I tried to come up with movies that were going to make it difficult for both. That's why I gave you Anchorman and gave you Toy Story. For me, I'm picking Interstellar. Like, it's hard for me to choose Interstellar over Die Hard because I do say that Die Hard is my favorite movie of all time. But Interstellar, like, I'm sitting here now thinking, I'm sitting down, I'm putting on like Final Fantasy X. I got Interstellar playing over here to the side, and then I'm eating my gummy bear. Like, that's a cool vibe.
Well, I don't know. I think Avengers would be good too, but I think the problem with Avengers is and the reason I didn't pick Avengers is if we're looking for just a hangout and you just want your background noise. Avengers is a movie that whenever stuff's happening,
you gotta stop.
Everyone's gonna stop what they're doing, and then it's just watching the movie.
It's like those TikToks.
If we just want a background, we just want the funny quips from Anchorman.
Yeah, well, all right, whatever.
So,
all right, so
this one's easy. Pick a meal: Pizza Hut, Applebee's, Joella's, Sample, or White Castle. If we're talking about a group setting, you gotta go pizza.
That's fair. Pizza would make sense.
You're gonna pick Sample.
Well, I would definitely pick Sample, but I think just to make you salty, I'm gonna say White Castle.
That's disgusting.
White Castle is amazing.
Skip right over that.
Yeah. So last one's going to be a drink. So picking a drink, we've got Mountain Dew, sweet tea, Diet Coke, a beer, or Monster.
This is a hard one because it depends on if we're staying up or not.
I know.
If we're staying up, which nowadays I limit my caffeine. I have one of these. It's 200 milligrams of caffeine. That's all I have pretty much all day.
I don't have I used to have about 2 to 3 pots of coffee a day. Now I'm only at like 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day. So
that's a good change for you.
It is a big change. Yeah, yes.
So, but overall, I think I'm trying to take the group into effect because my group would be us two, Wayne,
and Howie,
and Scott.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Yeah.
So if I went sweet tea, I know me and Wayne would drink it.
That's true.
You wouldn't. Well,
the thing is, we're going to have them on the pod here in a couple of weeks, and we're going to hit them with this loadout too. By the way,
so
they'll get to pick their own.
I don't know, man. Like, I know I'm trying not to do sugar, and I talk about the caffeine and stuff.
Yeah,
Mountain Dew would just give it. It's the vibe of like hangouts back in the day.
Yeah,
Doritos, Mountain Dew. You got your GameCube out. We're playing Mario Party. We have Anchorman quips in the back of us. That sounds like pretty good. Yeah, so I'm gonna go Mountain Dew.
And we got the glory of Interstellar also going on back there. But I recently learned that they have a Mountain Dew Zero Sugar that does not have brominated vegetable oil in it, which is very awful. If you haven't Googled it, Google it. I would probably go Mountain Dew as well, but I would do Zero Sugar Mountain Dew.
See, I don't like the taste of it.
I can't taste the difference.
Wayne drinks the Zero Sugar ones every now and again. That's his favorite drink of all time.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. So my loadout is gummy bears, PS2, watching Interstellar, eating some White Castle, and drinking some Mountain Dew.
Yeah, and mine is Doritos, GameCube, Anchorman, pizza. Oh, wait, I didn't realize you specified Pizza Hut.
I did specify Pizza Hut. Yeah.
I like Pizza Hut, though. They're a little box that's like $20.
Yeah.
2 pizzas, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's good. It's a good deal. And Mountain Dew. Like, I feel like that's literally the Gaber setup, though.
Yeah, it is. It's the textbook, but it's good. So that's our loadout segment. So a new little quick.
And you might see this coming back in a couple weeks whenever.
Oh, you're going to. I've already got it mapped out. I just got to remember these options so they get the same options.
Yeah. So
all right, let's jump to our next side quest, Next Gen. So the whole purpose of Next Gen this time, really, we spent our story mode talking about how the internet was and old YouTube, old meme sites, old browsing, just social media, how things used to be. When we think about it now, I mean, when you think social media right now, what's the quintessential social media platform that you think of? Just boom, right off the top of your head.
TikTok.
100%. I mean, that.
I think it depends on what you're looking for, though, because I think TikTok is more your like entertainment fueled, like. But like, if you're looking for like networking and stuff like that, I think Facebook's still used quite often.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Facebook gets a lot of hate, and they criticize us millennials and the boomers, of course, that are on Facebook. But TikTok is likely and I read a thing the other day that like Gen Z apparently use TikTok more than Google to like search things, which is kind of nuts to think about. But I
use Google.
Yeah, I still use Google. I will say there have been times when I'm stuck on a game that I've been scrolling through TikTok and I've just searched and been able to find a walkthrough on there. So that is pretty interesting. But what's fascinating to me about TikTok, though, so back then, you go look something up on the internet, you had to save your bookmarks or whatever, and or favorites depending on the browser that you were using, whether it was like Netscape or Internet Explorer or whatever. But you had to go out and find the stuff you wanted because you had it saved. Good God, now I feel like there's people living in my house that just constantly listen.
Peanut video, and next thing I know, every video I watch is Peanut.
Dude, the algorithmic methodology in browsing now.
I still am of the opinion that your phone's listening to you, because I will talk about something one time, and the next thing I know, I'm scrolling Facebook, and the ad pops up.
Dude, it's nuts. And, I will say, when I see sponsored posts on Facebook, historically, I thought they were all scams. And, like, I'd see it, and it's one of those, like, prime example. I did not look up anything the other day, but I made a comment to my mom about needing to get an oil change at Big O. Didn't look it up. Didn't go to the internet.
This is what I'm getting at.
I opened up Facebook, and then I see a sponsored post from Big O.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane. But I will say those sponsored posts, so as algorithmic as they are and how they suggest everything, which is outstanding, that's how I got to go to the Metal Gear concert in Los Angeles. I kept seeing a sponsored post on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, it's a scam. Yeah, that's a scam. Yeah, it's a scam. Finally, I was like, okay, wait a minute. Is this legit? And I looked, and it was legit. Metal Gear was doing an orchestra concert in New York and L.A. I had ignored it enough times. I missed the one in New York, but the one in L.A. was like 2 weeks away. And I was like, well, let's see if it's legit. It was. Next thing you know, I go to L.A. for 23 hours to go see Metal Gear Solid in concert, which was one of the best experiences of my life, by the way. But it is kind of creepy with sponsored posts.
Yeah, I will agree. I made one because you know this, but one of my things this year is I wanted to get in a little bit better shape. Like,
that was one of your resolutions, yeah.
And I talked about it, and there's this website that popped up out of nowhere, and I've looked into it. I just haven't signed up for it yet. But it's called it's like Conquest Challenges, and what they do is they.
Is this the thing that sends you like medals for doing?
Yeah,
shit?
That I
sent you. Yeah.
That it's really cool because they've mapped out how long it takes. Like they took and somehow took. It's like the Battle of Tatooine, and it's like one of the medal. It's like they traveled this far in this thing, so you have to travel this far in order to get the medal.
I've seen the Middle Earth ones for Lord of the Rings and stuff.
So it was cool. So
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I do like how things are suggested and recommended and all that. It's a little creepy at times.
It is creepy at times. I will say that I 100% agree with. Like I've said that now, and now I'm going to get on Facebook and every thing is going to be
this Conquest thing.
That Conquest medals thing.
Maybe I'll get another recommendation for a concert that's legit. The other thing I would say in talking about the internet and social media now and going forward, AI is freaking everywhere. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of ChatGPT. I think I've mentioned on this pod that I use ChatGPT to kind of help me out on certain things and stuff like that. But the amount of AI content on TikTok
is insane.
It's also insane to think about what AI looked like 2-3 years ago and compare to what it looks like now. Like, if there is something that I think is very, very important for any Gen Zer or any boomer, for that matter, to educate themselves on, it is how to identify and verify content that you view on the internet. Because some of the AI things that are coming out now are insane. And
I was watching.
I mean, it's nuts.
Well, speaking of, I have as I've made comments most of the time, Mr. Nutt is the way to go. He's the best thing. Comes on 8 o'clock every night.
Let's ride.
8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central.
What would you do? What would you do if Peanut listened to the pod?
Oh, I'd go crazy.
And like insane. Left a comment or something like that.
That would be insane.
Oh, yeah. I'd be. One can dream.
That would be.
Somebody forward fantastic. This to the Peanut, please.
But anyway, he was talking to a guy the other day, and I didn't know this. Apparently, one of the top Twitch streamers right now is an AI Twitch streamer.
Really?
Yeah, it is an AI-generated Twitch streamer that interacts with chat and everything. It has like 230,000 subscribers.
That's insane. See, and that's what's
crazy to me, because somebody generated that, never has to actually get on there, and is
making money off of
it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a part of me that wants to respect the hustle from that perspective, but I will say, like, a lot of the uproar in the gaming world and the movie world around like AI and generative AI and stuff. I definitely agree and see where they're coming from. Like, you can't replace the human experience with AI. Like, you just can't.
Yeah.
But I do acknowledge AI as a tool is legit. But being able to actually use it, like, I don't know. It's just, I think how fast everything has moved is one of the reasons for this podcast and why we're so nostalgic for a slower time. Like, when we had to look something up, we had to spend the time to look it up and research and find what we were looking for. Now we don't have to do that because they already know what we're looking for.
Well, could you imagine kids nowadays if they were in school before you could use the internet and you had to actually go through your textbook to find anything?
Yeah, or the Britannica encyclopedias and all that.
And you didn't have Cliff Notes. And you could just...
Dude, I can't believe I didn't. I have to. Did you use?
I did in high school a little bit, but I didn't have to.
Did you know pinkmonkey.com?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, Pink Monkey. I have never. I am sorry to say this. I have only read physically one book my entire life, and it is Halo: The Fall of Reach.
That's crazy, actually.
Now, that's it. Now, you may think, how did you get through school? I never read any of those books. I just went to pinkmonkey.com and I was able to write very good book reports based on the cliff notes provided through pinkmonkey.com. So now I've listened to a lot of audiobooks and I can count that as reading, but if you want to distinguish the difference, I have physically read one book my entire life. It was great.
We were talking about people who can read and not.
I can read. I just have elected not to. Asshole.
So, but that's probably gonna wrap it up for our segments.
That is, yeah. Side
so
quest.
Let's go ahead and get into our save point next.
Yep, side quest done. Let's jump into the save point. Another good one today. 13 episodes in. Today was a little broad, talking about old school internet.
We're just talking about internet in general and like changes. Got into a little bit of a tangent on anime. Again, we're going to have an anime episode. We'll get that working.
I feel we've had several anime tangents, so the fact that we're going to give a whole episode to it, which will likely be a party episode, by the way, which means it could be a longer one, because Howie's the anime expert.
Well, and believe it or not, Wayne was texting me. He was telling me one that I had never heard of the other day that he just started. And it's, I don't even remember the name of it, but it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Basically what it is you get locked. Whenever a villain gets caught, they get forced to be a hero. That's how they.
Oh, that's interesting. It's kind of like it's kind of like Dispatch.
Yeah, so it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
So.
But no, so we talked old school internet, new school internet, a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of throwback. Also kind of looking forward, went through a little fun side quest on our ideal loadout, which we're going to ask Wayne and Howie about. But it was a good time. As always, we really appreciate you hanging around with us.
More than anything. We're, 13 episodes in?
13, lucky right? Number 13.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's favorite number.
Oh, God. 13 episodes in now, man. We appreciate everyone that's listened to it. We like the feedback. I like hearing from people that I haven't heard from in a while. It's really cool.
Yeah, I've actually talked to a few folks that worked with us at GameStop that I haven't connected with in a while, hoping to get together, get some grub, and kind of rekindle a little bit, especially now that I'm back in town. But yes, echoing Austin's sentiments, thank you all for listening and tagging along. If you've kept up with some of the recent updates, keep an eye out on the YouTube. We will be having some video content coming out with some additional 0.5 episodes. But,
as well as possible other video content.
Yes, other video content will be coming as well. We are going to talk about this in a future episode, but there are some events going on that we're going to be getting ourselves out to, so we'll have some video content there. But next week's, specifically, before we sign off, next week's episode is another topic that has come up organically in previous episodes that now has its own story mode. We're going to be doing trading cards and terrible regrets. So it's going to be all things around trading cards back in the day, current, how things have changed, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be next week. But, of course, I can't forget, reach out to us through the email, the midnightreleasepod@gmail.com. Comment, TikTok. We've been doing a lot on TikTok, so reach out to us. Subscribe, follow.
Chase has been going live on TikTok with different
That's right.
content.
I've been trying to do that. The other day
we did it while we were playing Villainous, and
that's right. Yeah, keep an eye out for, if you don't have the notifications turned on, the little bell, turn that on. I've been doing the TikTok live thing. We did the board games when we were together. I've been playing some random PC games. So, yeah, come hang out with us. Give us some feedback. But ultimately, always remember, and thank you for being here, that some memories are worth lining up for.